Everywhere I land, a woman appears. Look, she is a comms officer. She's someone's mum in fine time. She's an ambulance. She's a portrait in 1813, and the list goes on. So she's everywhere. She must be here.
Right on cue.
Well, we have all been waiting to see it for quite literally years, and the long build of suspense about this episode was... well, let's find out if Doctor Who Season 1, The Legend of Ruby Sunday, was worth the wait. Just as we always start off these reviews, here is the synopsis. The Doctor and Unit investigate Ruby's past, but as the time window reveals horrifying secrets from Christmas Eve, the mysterious Triad technology unleashes the greatest evil of all. Just sounds supercalifragilisticexpialidocious from the synopsis. But was it as good as I had hoped? Or as good as the writer RTD had teased? Was I left screaming? Before we go any further, I would ask you to subscribe if you love Doctor Who and Doctor Who content. This channel is all about Who and has some great stuff coming and already has some great stuff already on the channel. Thank you, and on to the review. This one is going to be a long one because there's going to be so much interesting and some disappointing things to cover. The Legend of Ruby Sunday was written by showrunner Russell T Davies, like much of the season bar 2 episodes out of 9, and directed by Jamie Donahue, who also directed the 2023 Doctor Who Children in Need minisode Destination Scarrow. With Donahue having some great titles under his director's belt such as The Last Kingdom and A Discovery of Witches, I had some high hopes that the direction for this episode would be fantastic. The writing is something that I struggle to dislike because I love Russell T Davies as a writer, and he always has some of the most thought-provoking and intriguing storylines of modern TV, so I was going into this episode with expectations already high. I think my main worry overall for this season so far is how many mysteries there are, and how little time we have to answer those questions. I mean, this is a lot for 2 episodes to cover, but nonetheless I have faith. So we start the episode off with an amazing shot of the TARDIS crash landing into Unit. This shot was just flawless and I literally loved it, even with the burning question in my mind on why it keeps landing like this. The Doctor gets out and starts the introductions, my favourite one being, "This is Kate, we love Kate." Definitely some fan service and fanboy coming out in RTD, as we all really do love ourselves some Gemma Redgrave as Kate Lethbridge Stewart. So we quickly got all the introductions out the way and we get to what was released as a teaser clip, all of the Susan Triad appearances and why the Doctor has partially come to Unit for help. I really love how RTD manages to introduce and handle so many cast members here. No one feels underutilised or left out, and it's very well written and played out by the cast. I really liked when the Doctor was going through the images and referred to Penny Pepperbean as someone's mum from Fine Time, with a disgusted look on his face. The Doctor not even acknowledging Lindy is a great way to show this, and this just helps relate back to that upsetting ending of Dot and Bubble. After the Doctor finishes with his usual rambling, everyone in Unit just stares at him. Like, honey, we're already on that one. This was just fabulous. Things start to unravel fast in this episode, no one messing about, we have far too much to get answered. So they start by acknowledging the S-Triad anagram. This means TARDIS, for anyone who hasn't commented to tell me this yet. Thanks again. They do mention Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter, again. Ruby notices this, and this is probably my first hint that this wasn't going to be Susan Foreman. Kate follows this up by giving us a rundown on all the aliens Unit has stopped apart from the obvious one, adding a question in here instead of an answer. Who is the obvious? They move on and the Doctor has to explain to Ruby that Time Lords can regenerate, and we get the whole regeneration speech here for any newcomers to the show. But it also does add to the story this time round, so it's not irrelevant. But I did notice that with doing this, Russell has cleverly gave us a hint that ᴍᴏ will be with us for a good while longer, which I'm really happy about. This also hints, because they're talking about Susan looking different, that she can possibly regenerate. This has never actually been a known fact, because we were still unsure if Susan Foreman was even the Doctor's actual granddaughter, but it is confirmed here and makes it whatever is classed as Doctor Who canon. I need to say that Maurice Gibbons, played by Lenny Rush, has stole his scenes. Great new scientific advisor for Unit, and the fact that this was an added character later by Russell specifically for Lenny, the character is very well played and written. But whatever happened to Osgood? Or is she just in Geneva for now too? One thing I did like about this episode is that all the characters are introduced fairly quickly, and there doesn't feel like there's a lot of time wasted. It is needed, as Ruby has never met any of these people before, and technically thanks to 73 Yards she has never met Kate. I love how Mel, played by Bonnie Langford, is the last in the lineup of the huge cast we have to be introduced, keeping one of the existing fan favourites till last. We all love Mel, right? I have to say her character has evolved so well, and RTD really writes her character beautifully. She feels like she has a better purpose now rather than just screaming till her ears bleed. So when Mel is introduced, this gives us some backstory on what UNIT have been doing. Mel is a spy and they're investigating Triad tech. Kate says that Susan Triad apparently is really nice. I wish I hadn't believed that. Damn. They eventually move on with the plot and the Doctor explains that he's not only here to figure out his mystery woman, but another mystery also. A missing woman. Ruby's mum. This brings up the VHS tape, and it's the first question in the long list answered fairly quickly, that it is Ruby's CCTV footage for the day that she was left on the church step. Morris coming in and thinking like the Whovian channels, that have all been working so damn hard over this season, trying to decipher the season. What if Ruby's mum and Susan Triad are one and the same? I swear RTD just thinks like a proper fanboy when he's writing this stuff. I love it. One thing I really have enjoyed over the season is the gadgets. They seem to have kind of vanished a little after RTD left. Some popped up, but not very many. But through this season, we have had so many nifty gadgets, and this just makes it so much more Doctor Who. So Ruby had to go home to collect the VHS tape. We're introduced to Carla, and she just starts off with one of the best lines you could ever have in a Doctor Who episode. Talking about the VHS tape, she says, "That's the legend of Ruby Sunday." Carla questions if Rose works at UNIT, and this allows Rose to confirm to us that after the events of the giggle, Donna did indeed take on a position at UNIT. Does this mean that we'll be seeing Donna again? Who knows? Possibly in the UNIT spin-off, if we ever hear anything about that again. My favourite part about this is the way that Carla reacts to the fact that Donna works for UNIT. So as Ruby's mum, she's also going to be involved with this. And I love that attitude from Carla. And because Cherry Sunday needs someone to attend to her, Mrs. Flood is called upon. She comes up and we get a scene where she first comes into the house and she says, "I'm always hiding myself away." This made me think, what does the TARDIS do when it lands? Just a thought, is it still a possibility that she could be the TARDIS? So we get Cherry stealing the show as always with her minor but very amazing appearances. Her one-liners are just always great. Actually, can we get a Cherry Sunday spin-off? We can call it In Bed with Cherry Sunday. Oh please. So Cherry says that she needs a cup of tea, and I don't know about you, but I thought Mrs. Flood's reaction was just going to be, yeah sure, I'll get you one now. But no. She went all fourth wall breaking scary woman again. She tells us he waits no more. So after Mrs. Flood addresses the camera, we see the storm brewing, and we get to a scene where Kate and the Doctor are having a lovely intimate moment with one another. But this really fried my brain. So apparently the Doctor is a grandfather to a granddaughter he is still yet to have a child for. Wait, what? I really think RTD maybe have had one too many late night beverages whilst writing this scene. So Susan Triad is then confirmed to be human by Mel's daily DNA scan. This further cemented it for me that this is not Susan Foreman. Sad, but true. Ruby then comes bursting into the office with her VHS tape, all excited and ready to find out who her parentage is, asking why her mum wasn't allowed in. Kate explains why she's not allowed in, but she also follows this up by mentioning that even the Prime Minister is not allowed in the building. And we get Morris with another great one-liner. Especially the Prime Minister. I mention this specific scene because this relates back to the question of who UNIT are still trying to catch, and duh, my stupid brain didn't click on. The Prime Minister, the gold tooth, the Master. Is this a hint at what's to come in the future potentially? Okay, so we get to the time window scene. This is kind of where we spend a good chunk of time for this episode. But this full scene was just amazing, and I really hoped we get to see the time window again. So they load everything up and it all starts to give us a glimpse into that day on Ruby Road. But the core starts to overload and Kate asks Morris if they should stop. Morris replies with another fantastic one-liner. No way. Loved this. It made me laugh, to be honest. But on reflection, they should probably have turned the damn thing off. This whole scene is so intense and is written and directed in a way that leaves you feeling on edge. It kinda gives proper horror vibes. But alas, Ruby's mum walks past her and they don't get any answers. No one sees her face, no one sees anything, they just see the scene play out as we've seen it play out multiple times before. To be honest, we're left with more questions from this scene about Ruby and that night. Morris insists on asking the Doctor a question, and the question is, what is that thing? Boom, we have our entity. My mind starts going towards it being Satan from the Satan's pit. But surely not. It can't be. Carla even has a line pointing us in that direction.
I know his name. It's the Beast.
I just want to stop here and say that this episode looks and feels phenomenal. The directions and the visuals, the CGI, everything is just looking so damn brilliant, and I'm here for it all. So Mel takes the Doctor to meet Susan Triad, and he has like a mini breakdown in the hallway of her building. No tears this time though. I really like how Mel just deals with the Doctor in this scene. Like, she gets him and she knows him, and she tells him to do what he does and fix it. I love this scene. And it is just what the Doctor really needs. Someone to be hard on him. During the Doctor's brief interaction with Susan Triad, we find out that she does indeed dream of her other selves. And she is aware of this. So that's the second question answered, but we're still left hanging on why. I did mention that this was a possibility, so I was kind of right on this theory, I suppose. I'm giving myself a point for it. Kate then finds out that the TARDIS appears on Ruby Road for a second time, something that we all know should never happen. This could possibly explain why the beginning of the church on Ruby Road is totally different to the Doctor landing at the end of the church on Ruby Road. Both scenes don't match up, they are really quite different scenes. So does this mean that the Doctor visited twice and that's why the memory keeps changing? So we do get another answer, we get a third answer to what's been causing the TARDIS to be so sickly, and that is that there's a life form wrapped around the TARDIS, not just on it but within it. This explains the noises, the weird landings and the sparks. This is just a thought, but it could explain the weird adventures we've been having all season as well. Also, did anyone notice that the lasers that scanned the TARDIS in this episode were blue, but in the trailer they were green? Probably a misdirection tactic, but we'll have to wait and see. We then get a fourth question answered also. Who is Susan Triad? Well, she is a puppet. A puppet for this entity. This was theorised with other channels. I can't remember if I said this as well, to be honest, but yeah, she's a puppet. A harbinger, if you would like. And obviously we get the ᴅɪ괱ᴜᴜᴜ. The Confused Adipose had already theorised on this in a video I had watched, and I'd totally agreed that this is what it would be, because no last name on the cast list was a little bit on the nose. And for those who are lost, first initial H, last name Arbinger, it spells harbinger. This is what the gods send to warn of their incoming doom. But now this is not hard for me to say. I was wrong on my theory of Hecuba, and I'm so happy that I was, because oh my, that reveal on who this god is was so worth my theory being wrong. Damn, RTD pulled it out of the bag for this, man. Jeez. At the end of the day, theory videos are just made for fun, in the hopes that you might get a lucky guess. And if you're wrong, who cares? But I can reveal that Sutekh is back. And I know I'm going to have a lot of happy subscribers because a lot of you wanted this to be Sutekh or Omega. And oh my god, did you get Sutekh? I literally became speechless at the end of this episode, and I just couldn't stop saying, what the f***? What the f***? What the f***? Like, I stopped writing, I couldn't write, I couldn't think. Like, genuinely this episode blew me away. I have zero complaints on this episode. This is easily a solid S rank on the tier list, and stuff, I'm gonna say it, I think this is the best first part of a finale we have ever seen in Doctor Who history. It was flawless in my opinion. Sutekh looks amazing, the Harbingers all look creepy as hell. I wonder if Sutekh will take on a humanoid form or if he'll continue to be fully CGI for the next episode. But I do want to add in here, that's not to say that Hecuba is not Ruby's mother. We still have that to be answered, so who knows, I could be partially right on my theory. But I literally cannot wait to watch this episode again. As always, let me know what you thought in the comments below. I will ask you again to subscribe if you love Doctor Who and Doctor Who content. This channel is all about Doctor Who and we love it here. And there's some great stuff coming, and as I said, there's great stuff already on the channel. Click this video if you want to stay in the YouTube Whoniverse, because honestly, it's always the best place to be.